This episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Guys, you don't need to choose between price and quality to get an amazing and affordable shave. DollarShaveClub.com's the answer. To prove how amazing the shave really is, right now they're going to give you your first month free to join the club. DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing razors right to your door for a third of the price of what the greedy razor corporations charge. Join the club just like I did and stop dealing with the drugstore hassle and battle the locked up razor fortress ever again. I've been looking good. Kevin's been complimenting me all the time. He's been touching my face, and he's just like, man, Tim, this is so soft. I'm like, thanks, Kevin. Dollar Shave Club. Anyway, just go to Dollar Shave Club, pick a razor from their lineup of amazing blades. I've been using their executive blade, and it's dope. Let me tell you what. See why over 3 million members like me love Dollar Shave Club. They're so confident in the quality of all their products. Now you can get your first month of the club for free. Just pay shipping. After that, it's just a few bucks a month. No long-term commitments. I know how you're scared of those things. Love and Sex Stuff every Monday, 9 a.m., except for right now because it's on hiatus for a little bit. Anyway, no hidden fees. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Gamescast. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Gamescast. Now, next topic. Gears of War 4. I kind of want to get your guys' review discussion in quotes.
Yeah.
This is probably
We're not ready
the
to
most
review
in-depth
any game.
thing ever, but I'm going to call this review just because you're probably not going to put too much more time into it, but we did do a thing where you guys played 5-ish hours.
8 p.m. to 1 a.m.
When we
Launch night, Monday night.
So 6 hours, but there was like some technical difficulties or whatever.
No, we still started on time. We couldn't because of the servers. We couldn't do co-op on separate screens. We just played split screen all the time.
So you played a fair amount of the game. You played through the co-op of the campaign.
Yeah.
So I just want to kind of hear what you guys' thoughts are on this. And again, this might be a shorter topic because we got some longer ones coming throughout the rest of the week.
I had a great time. It's what I want. It's Gears of War. You know what I mean? Like, and I was telling you before we came on, like I was worried about this topic being short because I feel that's what it is. You know, we invested all this time in it, but it was Gears of War in the way I've always enjoyed Gears of War, which is me and a friend or friends when we play. Because you and I played Gears of War 3 together with Casey and I think Charles back at IGN, and then I had done Gears of War 2 with Levi Buchanan. Like, and for me, Gears has never been the story, and that's why, like, in the stream we're playing and Kevin started asking us questions off there about what's going on, and not only in what we were playing, but clearly we were dicking around, reading the chat, making fun of each other, having a good time, but like in just the Gears lore. And I was like, there's Emergence Day and the Locusts, and what does that mean? Like, we're digging. It got to the point where like, I don't really know. And like Marcus popped up, and I was like, is this Dom? And he's like, Dom's dead. I'm like, I don't even remember any of that happening because that's not what it's about. The game is about running through and chainsawing enemies in half and having cool moments and shooting shit and then bitching about the driving and hanging out with your friends. And like, that what Monday night was that exemplified, where it was me and Colin being stupid. I was having a couple beers. We were just running around playing. Had a great time playing the game. And that's what Gears of War has always been amazing at. Like, the gameplay is awesome. Playing Gears of War is fun. Like, running around, taking cover, it's satisfying. Holding B and running up and chainsawing these people in half or whatever. And like, I thought they did a really good job this time of enemy variety in terms of we had their big hulking guys and then we'd be playing. Then when I started getting bored with them, they introduced like the swarms of people that just run at you, at which point it was hold B for extended periods of time and just chainsaw dudes in half over and over and over again. And then like the giant crab guy and all, it was like, yeah, this was fun. I had fun, but like, to your point is I had fun in that night. I'm not sitting here going, man, I got to get back and beat Gears of War 4 and see what the campaign's going. Because again, we were yakking over it, having a good time. I thought the voice acting seemed better. These characters were more interesting than I was interested in Marcus and Dom before because they were so overblown. I think Laura Bailey's performance was really good from what I heard. The guy who I kept saying looked like John Cena, he was a fun character too, and I liked him being, Marcus's son and how that all plays out and stuff. But it wasn't. I'm not like on, oh man, what's going to happen next? I had a great time. We ran through and killed a bunch of stuff, and that was fun.
So in terms of the big kind of spectacle moments, I've seen a lot of people online talking about there's a scene with the plane kind of going down, and you have to like shoot down, whatever. It's like a huge, it seems like a big set piece thing. It very much reminds me of like action movies and like cool, like crazy stuff.
When we were doing that, Colin brought up, this feels like an old school boss battle.
Yeah, it felt like, I mean, that reminded me, for some reason, that reminded me of Contra. And I don't know, and I don't know, like, what, like, when you're like, what? No, there you go. I feel like to me that particular part was awesome just because it reminded me of those segmented boss battles from old games where it's like shoot the guns and then shoot the middle thing and then you like the plane crashes and you jump your bike over it. Listen, like I like Gears of War and I think that I think it's a cool series, and I think it always had a really cool look and a really cool, interesting plot with the Locust and where they came from, and this kind of battle against them. And I've always really been impressed with the third-person kind of cover-based shooting. I think, I often talk about Call of Duty as being kind of for me being the marquee of first-person shooters in terms of feel, in terms of like being what you should copy. If this is like, if you make a shooter, why wouldn't you make a shooter that feels just like Call of Duty? And I think Gears has always been a similar thing to me. There were games that obviously inspired it, or you would assume inspired it, like Kill Switch and stuff like that. But really, Gears of War was and I think is the marquee for third-person shooters. Now, there are other ones that I love. I think Vanquish feels great and stuff like that, but Vanquish is arcadey. Gears of War is heavy, and I think that's usually an insult for me. I like games that are a little quicker, but I like the particular heft that I think Gears of War shares, and Gears of War 4 obviously has that. The idea that your characters are heavy, the idea that the enemies are spongy. I like that. I like that kind of stuff. The risk-reward gameplay of really using like a Lancer to throw 50 bullets into an enemy, but you might only have 100. You don't see any bullets around you, so you might want to run up and melee him with your chainsaw on the Lancer. But that exposes you to attack, and you really can't take that much damage. So without falling and having to be revived. So I really enjoyed going back. It's the first time I had played Gears since we played through Gears 3 5 years ago. And I was looking forward to Gears 4, and I think it met my expectations. I'd like to go back and beat it if I can, if given the time. But again, it takes place. It's the 25th anniversary of all the Locust gone and all this kind of stuff. So I don't really give a fuck about any of that stuff. I mean, like, I was really excited about the gameplay because I do think it's a masterclass in gameplay for that particular genre, and I think that it met those expectations. Unfortunately, we had to play in split screen because the network was not working for us. We could play Horde mode, but we could not play. Co-op on two different our different Xbox Ones. So yeah, so I think it's great. I think it was a lot of fun, and I think that it's getting a lot of hype, and people seem to really be enjoying it. I'll be interested to see what the Coalition, they used to be Black Tusk Studios, but I'll be interested to see what the Coalition does with it moving forward, since this is kind of their beat now. Gears of War is kind of their thing. And I think it's a really important franchise for them. And I think with Gears 4 kind of being well received and working, it seems like it works pretty well out of the box. I mean, it didn't work for us, but it seems like, those are server problems.
Yeah, that's going to happen on launch night.
I feel like, and I've said it before, with Halo kind of seeming to be on the decline, I feel like Gears of War, and I mean that in a relative sense, Halo is still huge and people love Halo, millions of people love Halo, but Halo's kind of declining as I think Gears is kind of coming into the fore and being something way more important for the Microsoft ecosystem. Yeah. And I think that, because I think that the jump from Bungie to 343 seems to have soured a lot of people, and specifically with the Master Chief Collection not working, and then the new Halo kind of not meeting people's expectations. And we talked about it very anecdotally about how I just felt like there was much less buzz. I mean, we worked in the game industry a long time where Halo 3 and Halo 4 are fucking huge. And I just don't feel like that was the same with the new Halo game. Whereas with Gears of War, I feel like it's always kind of been a little bit lighter on the marketing and a little bit lighter on the expectations. And so when Gears 3 came out, Gears 2 was huge and Gears 3 was this big kind of thing. But with Black Tusk, or the Coalition taking the franchise over when Microsoft bought the IP from Epic, because people have to remember that it was a Microsoft exclusive, but it didn't have to be. Like, that game could have very easily been on PlayStation. It was just not, and now it's never going to be. Which is fine. But I think now people see this and they're like, well, the Coalition seems to be treating this with a lot more care than it seems like 343, frankly, was treating Halo in terms of the fidelity of the game. And I think that's going to pay dividends for that particular studio up there in Vancouver. So I feel like there's something at play here with Gears that's going to be very important for them moving forward. And I saw a lot of, in the 5 hours we played it, I really enjoyed it.
It felt like Gears. It was that Gears experience that I want. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that was the thing. But now, being somebody who doesn't enjoy multiplayer forever, I'm way more stoked to get to the week, or keep playing Dragon Quest tonight, and jump into Tomb Raider some more this weekend, and then kick the tires on Res Infinite and some VR stuff. There's just so much going on that for me personally, I'm pulled away, and I don't see myself ever getting back to Gears.
I mean, I think this question might not even be applicable these days, but back in the day, you look at the PS2 to PS3 generation, like when a franchise would make that jump, like God of War 2 to God of War 3, there was that huge difference. And even when you look at like the Uncharted franchise, Uncharted 1 through 3, and then Uncharted 4, even that I think, felt bigger. Do you think that this one, that Gears of War 4 did the same compared to last gen's Gears?
Maybe. I mean, to me, not, I played the, Gears 3 again. I didn't play Gears of War Judgment. But Gears of War 3 was my last time playing Gears, and I felt like it was somewhat similar in scope. I don't know what I was saying to Greg, and I don't remember, I can't even remember I played so many games, like I can't even remember the ins and outs of a game I played a year ago, nonetheless, Gears of War 3. But I felt like there was a lot of backtracking in this particular Gears of War, or a lot of stagnation in this particular. And I don't mean that in a bad way, where it's like you're in an area.
We're just running around. Post up here, and we're going to fight a couple waves of guys and then move on to the next.
And I felt like, I mean, obviously every shooter has those kinds of things, but I felt like multiple times where I'm like, why are we like, when I don't want to.
There was like literally a part in that old house where you're like, you said that, and I was like, no, we haven't. And then I like made a left. I'm like, oh no, I was just in this room. You're right, I was.
Yeah, I was like, we're just going back through the same places again and again, which is smart asset use. My one complaint about, because I think Gears of War, I think people are going to love Gears of War 4, especially if they're Gears of War fans. But the one complaint I have is that I hate when games shoehorn shit into the games that don't belong. There's a motorcycle riding segment in the game. That's not very hard. We died a couple times. It's fast. It's a little twitchy. But I'm like, why is this in this game? Like, I don't even understand what this, like, this could be a cutscene, or it could just show me riding the bike. It doesn't serve any purpose. Games need to focus more on doing what they do well. And Greg was telling me, like, well, Greg brought up an interesting point, which is like, well, do you feel the same way about Uncharted when you're running away from the truck or when you're driving the truck around? And I'm like, well, when you're driving the truck around in Uncharted 4, yeah, I feel like that was needless because it gives you this idea that you're exploring this open place that's really not very open at the end of the day because it's funneling you into a certain place. But when you're running away from the truck, that serves and you're shooting behind you. In Uncharted 3 it is, I think, right?
Two.
Was
the truck.
That served the narrative. So as long as something serves the narrative, I think it's fine. But that particular thing, I'm like, this doesn't... Gears of War, Coalition, Gears of War is about gunplay. It's about putting guns in your hands and letting you shoot, the enemy in the swarm. And these robotic enemies and all these kinds of things, and the Locust back in those old games, and using cover and being smart and being very careful with the way you're moving around and dealing with these spongy enemies. It's not about riding motorcycles.
That's the problem video games have always faced, though, right? I always talk about it where you play the last level of video game, and it's always like, why developers, and this is from the beginning of time of video games, why do developers insist on leaving you with a bad taste in your mouth by shoehorning in some kind of boss battle mechanic that you've never dealt with before?
You play all of Devil May Cry, and all of a sudden you're flying.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and it's just like, why would you leave me with this impression? But then it's the other one of like, if they don't put stuff in there, is it going to be too monotonous of just shooting stuff? Are they going to be told they didn't do enough? They didn't push it far enough? It's that very delicate balance in line you have to walk.
Yeah, so I think that my impressions of the game are very positive. It met my expectations, and I would like to get back into it. And it reminded me, because I really do like horde mode, and I would like to play more of that. But again, there's just too much shit coming out, and especially with PSVR, like that's really just complicated the issue exponentially. So who the hell knows if I'm going to get back to it? But I mean, obviously, Gears of War 4 is great.